Is it possible to quote and then stage a home without seeing it beforehand? Spoiler, yes, it is possible, but how does this work and how does it affect the whole home staging process? Phoebe is going to answer all of these questions on today's episode 199 of Foxy TV. And we also have an example to show you where we both quoted and did the install of a property without seeing it prior to install day. Let's get into it.
I have asked Cody for us to bring together a bit of a Foxy TV episode on how we come up with our quote and how we do an installation of a property that's sight unseen. So it's not an unusual thing for us to do that, but there are certain elements that we need to be able to view in order to do an installation of a property sight unseen. So obviously we need to have a floor plan or some understanding of how the property is going to be laid out. So if you ring me and say, look, I've got this property up in Caboolture, it's a tenanted property, we can 9 times out of 10 jump onto RP data, bring up some images of how that property used to look, particularly if it's an investment property. We then can go one step further if we have a floor plan that you can forward through to us. So investment property, a new build, all those types of properties will have a floor plan. If your property has been listed sort of in like the last 5 to 10 years, we can often grab a floor plan off a previous listing on realestate.com. And as long as there's been no significant structural changes to the property, we can then provide a quote off that floor plan. So you can't just draw it up and send it to us freehand. What we need are measurements on there. So we've got this property in Camira as an example where Cody's been out this morning. This was sight unseen. The agent texted me through, said, hey, he can get you through, but here's the listing. So we jumped online, had a look. There has been renovations that have happened to this property. So if we looked at the previous listing, we've got a floor plan. There's been no structural changes. The kitchen has been switched out, but no structural changes to the rest of that property. So there's no changes for what furniture we need to bring in order to furnish the spaces that are available to us on that floor plan. So we've quoted that up knowing that we have a combined living dining space as well as 3 bedrooms. I can see on here that one of our bedrooms is only 2.8 by 3.2. Our second bedroom's 2.8 by 3.9. And then our master bedroom is a good size of 3.5 by 3.5. So I know immediately that I'm going to go stand a queen, a double and a single to make sure that those rooms are filled out nicely. Also can see we have a really long outdoor space. So we don't have necessarily a wide outdoor space, but it's really long. So if we only send one outdoor setting, it's going to feel really empty. So I can see off this floor plan, I need to send 2 outdoor settings. So the quoting as far as numbers that go off a floor plan can actually be more accurate than for me to give a verbal price if you give me a rundown on what your property needs. And they are just as accurate as if we visit on site. Now, if there are cosmetic changes that happen to that property, we do need to go by and have a look at those finishes and those colours. This property in particular, the client said to us, we've painted the inside with Lexicon half, everything else is the same except the kitchen. So we knew that we could basically do a fit out of the property for what suited online to make sure that what went in, we had to go with a grey colour palette because our walls are now grey, but everything else, the size of the rooms, the size of the dining table that had to be there, had to be round to make sure we had a good thoroughfare. All those types of things stayed the same. What we can't do is have intermittent photos. So if we have a couple of photos that have been sent through to us, and we can't possibly piece together a floor plan, we have to go on site. If a client is living there at the property and we're using some of their furniture, we have to go on site. If we've had renovations happen and we've added rooms, we've changed room sizes, we've incorporated walls to make a 4th bedroom and make the living room smaller, we have to go on site. So as long as what we can access on RP data is reflective of what is actually there, we can quote accurately. We have the benefit here of being able to send options on the truck. So if we were concerned that something might not fit, if we were thinking there might be a little nook that could need something, we can send extras. So that's the other way we also get around having potential little spaces that aren't necessarily reflected on a floor plan. We can send the extras on the truck knowing they can come back without any sort of price indication for the client. But that's how we do it. That's what a desktop quote is here at Foxy, and that's how we can make it nice and accurate for our clients, make it stress-free and a nice quick turnaround.
Thank you so much for watching episode 199 of Foxy TV. If you have questions, topics you'd like seen in future episodes, let us know. Otherwise, we will see you back here next week.